Hello Multiverse, welcome to Omniverse Gamers. My name is Damian Bizzaio. This video is going to dissect another dynamic encounter. We're going to call this one, I guess, Demon Ants from the Ground. This is a sort of a puzzle combat. This is from Tavern Crawlers, episode X. I don't know what episode it's from. The players are going down into these ruins, these ancient ruins, and they don't really know what they're going to get, but they know that there's been monsters that have been coming from these ruins, and the priests are trying to, like, suppress that. And they've given the party these glass stones. And as they bring them down, they'll find other glass stones that are glowing. And when they get to the end, they're all glowing white, basically. When they get to the end of the stones, the last stone is glowing blue. And they can take the clear stone, touch it to the blue one turns white, and theirs turns blue. And they can move that then down the corridor. As they drop these lights, the demon ants are kind of pushed back. All these demon creatures are pushed back. So that's their They don't really know that as they're going in. They just know they're going down to the ruins. And that these little gems they have, they want the clerics task them with extending these lights, because the monsters, they're trying to push these lights, kind of push the monsters away, but the monsters can attack the lights and kind of weaken them. So it's just give and take. Over time the lights weaken, but they try to send more people down to bring more light, and it's just this back and forth that people that have gone down there and don't fare well. They died, and then a lot of parties have been sent down, and not a lot have come back. The clerics started doing this, and they started losing their ranks. They're like, we need some help with this. So the party is going down to help them with this. Basically, I just drew a little map in Dungeon Painter Studio. It's a big giant ruin map. I'll put a picture up here, and I'll also put a link in the Reddit write up. You'll have the picture itself will be there, the whole map. But it's just a basic thing I drew. Nothing special. You can probably find way better ones on Reddit, But I've been trying to draw my own for my own uses and stuff. It's just easier for me rather than trying to fit other things. Just easier to draw my own sometimes. But anyway, so the group, they're going to go underground. They're going to spread these lights. Sounds simple, right? But these demon ants, this demonic presence is way down below, and it's been rising, and it literally takes the ants out of the ground. Basically, all the insects out of the ground. I just started with ants because I just whatever, I have this whole thing of insects that I like to run, and so when the demonic presence hits these ants, they literally grow into these giant ants, like the size of a medium-sized creature, and they're full of fire. So they attack, and when you kill them, they blow up, and they do like a 5-foot radius, boom. So not only are these ants just coming out of the ground, when you kill them, if you're close, you take damage, like a 3d6, fire explosion, dex for half, So it's pretty significant for this 4th level party that, when they actually kill these ants, they're going to explode. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. And the goal for them is to spread these lights to stop these ants. But when they realize when they get down there, anywhere on the ground that has a significant space, they need like a 1 foot by 1 foot space of where the lights are not covering, these ants can spawn up from there. So their goal is to spread these lights in a way that will prevent that from happening. But combat's happening, and it's a whole situation that's going on while we're trying to fight. So let's go over to my side view, and I'll show you how this kind of broke out here. So here's part of the tunnel. There, this bigger map you'll see. I'll show you. But so they're making their way down this tunnel. You can see I have these little stones. They're not to scale, but I went and rolled 20, and I made them tokens, and I made them glow. You can make a token have a radiance glow. Usually it's to show light or to show like the aura of a paladin or something, But I just use it to depict these lights. They have this 10-foot radius sphere, and the lights glow. So as you can see, there's gaps. There's a bunch of gaps here, and as they go through, the ants start to appear in these gaps. These demonic ants just come out of the ground, and they have to start. They slowly start fighting them, and they're slowly realizing that they can. As they get their gems, they're touching the blue one, and then as they touch the blue one becomes white. And then these purple ones are the white ones. And the blue one they can put down ahead. They can kind of like keep the chain going. The blue one's always at the end. And if they change the new one and the blue one, then they have the blue one. And they can extend it to the end. So they've been doing that down this tunnel for quite a while. They're kind of independently going. There are a couple spots, the ants pop up. They have a little, couple pitch battles. They haven't quite pieced it out yet, but they know that the light stops the ants. I don't know why the ants are appearing with the light, but they know the ants come out of the ground. And they're kind of slowly figuring it out. So, they're making their way through the tunnels. Now, they're going to get to a room where they're going to see a blue glow. So now they find their second blue. They know everywhere they see a blue glow, they have to go to there and basically exchange that into a white one and then push the blue one further. They want to kind of like stepstone these stones deeper into the ruins. That's their goal. So they get to this room, and they see in the south, they see a blue glow. So they look in. It looks like an old like sacrificial room. There's an altar. It looks like a bunch of pillars. And it's just like a room that looks like it used to be used to sacrifice people. It's like, it's really dingy smell, and it's ancient dust and stuff. So there's not a lot of, fresh blood in here. But there are some bodies in here and some blood and some insect carcasses, because other parties have come down here. Someone came down here and dropped these stones here and dropped this blue one. So you can see the blue one at the bottom here. That's a blue glow. That's the one that's going to be the end of their chain. So if they can get to that blue one, put their little clear marble on it, it'll exchange that, and they can kind of move it out. So as they kind of move in here, they realize that there's some movement in the southern end here. So as they go, they get in a position. I let them sneak around. They can't really see what's going on past these pillars. They're kind of stopping them from seeing, you know. So they creep in a little more. They get the light, and as the cleric goes right towards, he says, I'm just going to the blue one. That's what we got to do. I'm walking towards the blue one. So when he goes over there and he goes to touch the thing to the blue one, he will then see that there are ants all around him. He's just like, there's 3 massive ants that they've already fought. They've already fought maybe 3 or 4 of these things one-on-one. You know, they've had little skirmishes, so they kind of were wary of these ants. That they know they blow up. They know what they do. Now there's 3 of them right there within range of the cleric, and he's like, oh crap! But he's like, I gotta hold this gem here because if I can turn this gem and make it glow, I can then push them away. You know what I mean? You know, they attempt to do what they do. Everyone trying to go, oh my god! They all start taking their shots, start fighting these ants, and they kind of get in a better position. I think the ranger casts Hunter's Mark and just totally destroyed this with yellow ant here. And when he does, it blows up and just like boom into a fire. And he was making sure he was trying to kill it before it got to the cleric because he knows, you know, the fire will blow up. So there's 1 ant down. So they're like, oh yeah, we got one. Okay, there's only 2 left. We're good. You know, they're not good. So you know, this fight ensues a little bit. They attack the ants, go right at the cleric. Now, when the ants are within this light, they do have disadvantage. They do not like being in this light, but they're still demons. They still want to come kill because they like to fight. They like to attack the glow itself, so they want to eat these lights away, so that they can go back up and, you know, do their evil things. So this fight's going. You know, they kind of start to get a system. Then they start to hear. I do perception checks. And they start to hear this digging in the ground from various spots. You know, and pretty much everywhere that there's not light, there's this digging because more ants are soon to spawn up, and they're just like, they haven't seen, so they've been fighting the ants, but they have not seen the ants spawn out of the ground. They've just seen them in the corners where it was dark. They haven't seen them actually grow out of the ground. So they know, obviously, sounds are coming, you know, get out of the way, don't be stupid. So the cleric manages to, the gem in his hand becomes the blue one, the gem on the ground becomes the white one. So now this glow is even stronger, and he's got the blue one. He needs to move it somewhere and drop it. And then so what he does is he runs and he drops it right in between these 2 pillars to make some more light because he heard some scraping over here. So he's like, now, well, this is covered. Now that one, you know, maybe we can do something about that. So now you see they got 5 of these lights in here. The blue one's not quite as strong as the white ones. The blue one's like the end. It's like the core of it, but it's not like the full, you know, that's why they can attack it. That's why it's at the end. It's just part of the puzzle, you know. It's one of those things where the magic of the clerics is pushing through these gems to push this light away. As this is, so the one at the end is kind of like the weakest point, but it's also the point where you can extend it from. So, you know, they're fighting, maneuvering, you know, doing their thing. Now they realize that they can move the gems on the floor. They don't have to, they're not fixed in position. So they realize that they can try to rearrange these 5 they have and maybe get more light exposure, but also they're going to need more lights to cover this whole room, which I know, I've done the math, they need at least 9 of them. They could probably do it with 8, but they're going to need 9 of them to really cover this whole room, which they will figure out as we go. So they're fighting, blah, 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 you know, and then out from the ground where they have not quite protected it yet, right here, and even though this is the blue glows here, it's not enough to stop the demons from coming up. 2 more ants will appear. Boom, boom. From the unexposed, from the darkness, where the light does not extend, the ants are going to grow up out of the ground. This is going to happen every 2 or 3 rounds, basically. If they don't cover the light, more ants are going to come, more fire ants, and this battle's just going to get harder and harder if they don't, you know, pick up the pace and really solve the puzzle. Which this group is really good at puzzles, so they're weary of the puzzle more than the ants. They're like, well, we got to solve, because sometimes your party's like, well, we'll fight the monster and then we'll solve the puzzle. In a puzzle combat, you can't do that. You have to, the puzzle is the combat. You can't just be like, oh, I'll kill the monster and then I'll solve the puzzle. I'm never going to make it that easy. You have to, the puzzle's there to make the battle harder, not the other way around, you know. So the cleric, as he drops the blue one down, now what he's going to do is he's going to take another glass bead out of his pocket. They gave him like 50 of them because people go down and they die, and there's, you know, so they have 50 of these. So they're down to like 40 something now because they've been dropping them as they go. So he takes the next one out, bends down and puts it down with the blue one. So he's kind of taking these he's taking a lot of damage. And you know, the bard's healing word and whatever, because he just has to take it because he has to hold the gem together to the other gem to make the magic pass through and turn the other one blue. So eventually he does that. The one on the ground turns white. So the white light now is really hurting the red one and the purple one, and they're kind of feeling it. You know what I mean? They're just kind of shrinking away. They still fight and they're still demons, but they're just kind of like, oh, you know, they take disadvantage. And they do not like being in this light. So then the cleric moves south, drops the blue one down there. And, you know, he's just methodically trying to drop these things, and you know, while everyone else is fighting, the cleric's just trying to take turns, you know, trying to drop it and do it. Which I made it a bonus action, I believe, to hold it there. So he could do his other actions and stuff, but he had to, you know, waste his bonus action. Which is the cleric. That's why the cleric's doing it, because he doesn't really have bonus action. So they kill some ants. Some more ants appear. They figure out, okay, we gotta drop these. We gotta drop the white. We gotta make all these white ones drop, and then the ants, because they realize at a certain point that there's no ants coming up through the white zones. They're only coming up through the dark zones and where the blue one is. Where the purple gems are and the white light is, the ants cannot come out of the ground. Which, once they saturate this room with light, they're going to be safe. This room will be safe and cured. So, they're running around. There's a lot of fighting. Every time they kill an ant, it explodes. So they got to be very careful about how they kill it. And they're taking a lot of damage because these ants have grapple. So I can grab them and yank them on the ground. So my goal is that they're on the ground. So when the ant explodes, they can't get away. So they're taking lots of fire damage here. They're just dropping, moving around, dropping, moving around, dropping. Some more ants pop up from the darkness, and they're like, "Oh man, we really got to start covering these things," And they don't quite realize they can move the gems yet. But so the cleric's just running around. Cleric drops one in the north now. Then he's trying to put that one into purple. He eventually does it. He gets attacked. This battle is insane because it's this little tiny room, and the ants have disadvantage, but they just keep coming more and more, and they blow up. So there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of factors in this battle, other than just fighting on a flat plane. And eventually they obviously drop 8 of them down, and they think they have it, because they have 8 of them, and I know in my mind they're going to need 9. But they eventually realize it, and they drop the 9th one, and they manage to saturate this room with light. And then all they have to do is kill the rest of the ants, and then this puzzle has been solved. And they finally end up being able to do that. So yeah, that was just an example of a puzzle combat. This combat went on maybe half hour, 45 minutes. It was really quick, but they clearly had a goal that was, if they didn't solve it, more ants were going to come. It was like a depreciating goal. If they didn't get these lights spread out right, these ants were going to keep coming, and they were going to get overwhelmed. At first, they were overwhelmed. There's 4 of them, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And there's more of them coming, and we have to make it so there's less places for them to pop up, because they can only pop up so many at a time. And then when they run out of spaces, they couldn't come up anymore. And then they finally end up solving this room. This is just one room in this giant underground cavern that they have to go and spread these lights, but now they kind of have a really good idea of what's going to happen in the rest of this ruin, and they have to keep this dynamic is going to keep going, and they're going to be more than ants. Obviously, the demonic energy is basically changing all the ground creatures into these massive creatures with various different abilities and stuff. They won't all be fire, but they're all going to have their own little things. And just like when I ran insects before, I started with one insect. They had the tactic where it blows up. The next insect will have a different tactic, and then throughout this ruin, I'll have make 5 or 6 different insects with different abilities and different tactics. And then as they progress and get better and stronger, the party, gets understanding of how all these techniques work, I'm going to then mix and match them. I'll have like exploding ant, and then I'll have like a poison one. I have these crickets that make this sonic sound that gives you it's make noise poison, and if you can't pass a save, you have disadvantage, basically sound poisoned. So there are all these different techniques these insects have. I'm gonna add an upgrade to this, and you'll see that as the progression as they delve deeper into this cavern, I'll have more encounters like this, and you'll see how they go. So yeah, I hope that was interesting. It's just another example of a puzzle combat. Very, very combat-y, very light puzzle, because all they have to do is drop. It's not like they have to solve, world peace or solve like a, Rubik's Cube or something. They're just dropping stones down to cover the darkness. Simple concept, but it's a puzzle that makes them think outside of just hack and slash. They have to maneuver, they have to think, they have to take like the bonus action, they have to let the certain class that you're the one that's going to do this, because the rest of us need our bonus actions and blah blah blah. Like the ranger and the paladin, they all need the monk, they all need their bonus actions. So they just kind of let the cleric do it, and the cleric made sense. So yeah, that was just another dynamic encounter, another puzzle encounter. Like, subscribe, all that jazz for many more like this. Hope to see you soon, and keep on gaming.